You're watching Eye on Africa here on France 24. I'm Julia Kim. Here are the top stories from the continent. The Islamic State group claims responsibility for a double suicide bombing in the Tunisian capital. One policeman was killed and several were wounded in the attacks. Just hours later, Tunisia's president was then rushed to hospital after falling ill. From disinformation to violence, France 24's observers on the ground bring us an exclusive documentary on the pernicious elements surrounding the latest outbreak of the Ebola virus in the DR Congo. Stay tuned for a preview of their report, Ebola, an epidemic of rumours. And Kenya take on Tanzania in the Africa Cup of Nations. After losing their opening games, both sides are desperate for a win to stay in the competition. Our reporters went to see whether Kenya's new coach can come up with the goods. But first we begin in Tunisia, where the Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for two double suicide bombings in the capital of Tunis. Now, the first blast occurred on a central avenue, the second at a security base. One police officer was killed and at least 8 people, including several civilians, were wounded. For more on that, we can cross live now to our correspondent in Tunis, Fadil Ali Riza. What more can you tell us about the attacks?
Right. Well, we still haven't discovered the identities of the bombers. The Ministry of Interior's last statement has said that they've discovered the identity of the second bomber. The second bomber, of course, has attacked a police complex in Gorjeni, which is about 2 kilometers southwest of where the first attack happened. In the morning around 10:50. The first attack was against a security vehicle. It was security forces parked in a vehicle on the street. Very similar to an attack that happened in October 2018 when a female suicide bomber approached a security vehicle parked on the Habib Bourguiba Avenue, just a few hundred meters away from where the first attack today happened. And in that case as well, it wasn't immediately clear whether these perpetrator had any connections to other organizations, if they had any other help. And actually her family in that case had said she'd been radicalized online. So we're still trying to figure out who the bombers were today and what kind of help they might have had. But the closeness in time of the attacks, about 10 minutes apart each, as well as the geographical proximity, suggests that there may have been some coordination between the two.
Well, as you mentioned, that attack there in 2018, just a year ago, and now we're coming up to the summer season, the tourist season. Are people in Tunisia now worried? Is it bringing back bad memories of former attacks?
Well, that is the biggest worry to people I've talked to today. The worry is really for the economy and for the tourism season. There's also been some worry about this attack coming before the elections that are scheduled for this fall. They're worried about some political instability before that. People are really not worried about the security situation. That's really not in the forefront of people's minds. But what is in the forefront of their minds is whether or not this is going to have an effect on the economy, which is already doing pretty badly these days.
All right, Fadil, thank you very much for that. Now, fears for the life of the Tunisian president, Beji Caid Essebsi, have plunged the country into uncertainty. Just hours after the bombings, his office announced that Essebsi was taken seriously ill and transferred to the military hospital in Tunis. The 94-year-old is Tunisia's first democratically elected president. Essebsi came to power in 2014, 3 years after the Arab Spring uprising toppled longtime dictator Zine El Abidine Ibn Ali. Let's turn now to Ethiopia, where security forces have arrested scores of members of an Amhara political party. The National Movement of the Amhara says the arrests of 56 supporters amount to an identity-based attack. The Ethno-Nationalist Party is an opposition group that wants to advance the interests of the Amhara people, which is Ethiopia's second largest ethnic group. Now, the arrests come after Saturday's failed coup, which led to the deaths of the country's army chief and several top officials. The alleged mastermind of the coup, General Asaminu Sige, was a hardline Amhara nationalist who was shot dead by police on Monday. Now in Morocco, prosecutors have sought the death penalty in the murder of 2 Scandinavian hikers last year. The maximum sentence was sought for 3 suspects, the alleged ringleader, Abdesamed Ejoud, and 2 radicalized Moroccans. 3 people admitted to killing Danish student Louisa Vesterager Jespersen and Norwegian Maren Jueland in the High Atlas Mountains last December. Now, France 24's observers team has been investigating the latest outbreak of Ebola in the DR Congo. The multimedia documentary, Ebola, an epidemic of rumors, follows the situation on the ground through the eyes of 4 observers. From fake news to the violence directed at medical workers, the 12-minute report paints a stark picture of the current situation.
In October, rumor turns to violence. Medical teams conducting so-called safe and dignified burials are attacked with rocks and stones. With victims' bodies and even clothes highly contagious, the teams have to transfer the remains in sealed body bags and bury them quickly. The families kept at a distance, unable to see the body.
The people believed there was organ trafficking going on, that people were being deliberately killed in the treatment centres. They said to themselves, how can they bury our loved ones when we can't even see their bodies? They seized the coffins and opened them up. They even opened up the body bags to check if the person was inside.
And you can watch that online tonight on France24.com, and it will also air on France 24 from Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Paris time. And now for the latest from the Africa Cup of Nations. In Group C, Algeria beat Senegal 1-0 to top their group with 6 points from 2 games. Senegal are left with 3 points. In Group B, Madagascar are on the verge of making the last 16 in their first Africa Cup of Nations after their 1-0 win over Burundi. Marco Ilamaritra's late free kick means Madagascar will probably have enough points to go through to the next round, even if they finish 3rd in their group. Here's the reactions from some of the fans.
We are very happy because we have won against Burundi. We had a good game, a beautiful goal, and we are likely to be qualified in the last 16, so we are very happy.
Madagascar have made a lot of efforts. They have really worked hard, and it shows. They changed their coach, didn't they?
I am very happy, 100% happy, because our player set up his free kick perfectly. The opponents had a free kick as well, but they didn't score. Our goalkeeper blocked the ball, but our free kick was a goal, and I thank God. I am very happy.
Well, Kenya face a crucial Group C battle against Tanzania on Thursday after losing to Algeria in their opening match. Kenya's Harambee Stars are seen as underdogs in this competition, but a new coach has helped turn things around. Our reporter sent us this report from Cairo.
They haven't won a match in this tournament since 2004, and they've never qualified for a World Cup. But could Kenya's luck finally be about to change? With a new coach and a new sense of focus, they are hoping this year that they progress beyond the group stages.
Everyone is really focused. Everyone's serious. I think it's only done us good. We grew a lot and progressed.
Kenya's newfound energy is thanks in a large part to coach Sébastien Migné. After stints in Togo and in the DR Congo, the Frenchman is better known on the African continent than he is at home. And since his arrival in Nairobi last year, he's been working hard to turn the side's fortune around.
To me, it's a beautiful story. When I arrived in Kenya, I realized that something could really be done here, especially given how lacking the national team had been for years. I met them in Congo, the players were good, and I wondered how a country of 50 million did not have a team playing at the continental level.
To put Kenya on the African football map, Migné set about radically restructuring the team. It was a strategy that appeared to have worked. Kenya did in fact qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations final draw, and if they beat Tanzania, could start dreaming of reaching the last 16.
And the Kenya-Tanzania match will kick off in just a few minutes' time at 10 p.m. Paris time. And finally, in the town of Calabar in Nigeria, there's a special kind of market that's been in place for over 6 decades. No money is ever exchanged. Instead, people simply exchange one type of produce for another. Nicolas Germain reports.
In this market in the Nigerian town of Calabar, you don't need to bring your wallet. It operates on a barter system. Gloria has come with cassava and is looking for dried fish.
I like to carry cassava and collect something like fish, crayfish. It all reached 3 years now. The fish is what benefit me to help my house and the family.
Popular products here are sea snails, local eggplants and palm oil.
I have been trading in this market for about 20 years. I come here and exchange what I have in order to get sea snails, fish or okra.
Traditional chiefs say the system helps fight inflation. Nigeria officially banned bartering 6 decades ago. But that has never stopped this market from thriving, ever since it opened in 1956.
We cannot abolish the system because our youth and our elders, both men and women, I think it is usual practicing.
Locals say another advantage of the market is that it serves as a tourist attraction for visitors passing through the region.
And that's it for this edition of Eye on Africa. Mark Owen is up next with the latest world news headlines. Stay tuned to France 24.
Now I'm going to start testing for hepatitis C. Don't be scared, it's just a little sting. There's nothing to it.
6 months ago, Egypt launched a major campaign against hepatitis C. Its aim? To identify and treat victims in one of the world's hardest hit populations. The government says hepatitis C is a healthcare emergency and is providing treatment free of charge. But should the government be devoting more resources to prevention? Lack of funds and poor sanitation in hospitals are impeding efforts to eradicate the disease.
Reporters on France 24 and France24.com.